Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Opening Line podcast presented by Sharpside Sports. I'm your host, John Abbey. To the left of me is once again my co-host, James Abbey. How you doing today, man? You good?
I'm good. I didn't even tell you this when I walked in because I wanted to save it for the pod. My ride over here, we live 20 minutes away. It was so eventful, and I feel strongly about this. There's a lot of talk on the internet about the worst people being the guys that stand up when the plane lands, and like to get when they're in the back and they want to go to the front. Those are not the worst people on the face of the earth. The worst people on the face of the earth is when you see the 2-lane highway, you see that the lane is ending, right lane is ending in 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, and you continue to drive down the right lane.
Oh, it's like skipping the line.
It pisses me off so much. I'm sitting there and this is not, again, 20 minutes away, not a busy road at all. There are 3 signs, 3,000 feet, 2,000 feet, 1,000 feet, right lane is ending. No one is paying attention. I'm being a good Samaritan. I'm in the left lane. And it took me like 45 minutes to get here.
It's a doggy world out here, man. Oh my gosh,
it made me so mad. So if you are one of the people out there who do that, you are terrible.
Another thing that
do that.
That blows my mind is how people don't know how to zipper merge.
Oh yeah.
It's like, dude, if you're in front and you're driving and you're in back, you just merge.
Right. Don't be.
It should be seamless.
Yeah,
but
not pedal to the metal trying to get around.
Yeah, trying to get around people.
It just made
ridiculous,
me. I was like flustered walking in here. I'm like, I had to bring the good. I need to get the bad energy out, bring the good energy in to get this podcast.
Harness good, block bad.
Right, exactly.
And that's what we're gonna do today because last week I was super excited about talking about football. This week I'm even more excited. It's week 0. This is like if you go to a concert and you're going to a pregame before the concert. Mm-hmm. The concert is like the main event, right? It's like you're going to see it. You're going to have a great time. But the pregame's fun too. You're going to have a couple beers. You're going to see some friends. You're getting in the mood. And this is exactly what we're doing.
Have you seen the meme? Sorry, we'll let you keep going after this. I don't even know what meme it is. Like, I don't even know what people title this thing. But where it's the guy on the bus and like he's looking out the window and it's like I don't know if it's a wall or if it's like clouds or whatever, and then there's the same guy and he's looking out to like sunshine and like rainbows, and it's like college football is back as the sunshine and rainbows, and then it's week 0 is the guy who's like really sad because the slate is just crazy. I mean, it's not. You can get into it.
Yeah, well, let's jump into the slate. So,
well, I guess let's say what we're doing today. We'll go through the.
So this is going to be something that we do.
Every week now.
Yeah, every week, and it's titled Market Movers. We'll do a little thumbnail on the YouTube and the Spotify, but this is where we talk about just what the market is doing for specific games during that week. And so I think the perfect way to kick this off is to talk about Georgia Tech and FSU, which is the main course of week 0. It's going to be played in Ireland. It's a classic ACC matchup, and it's, by far the best game on Saturday.
Yeah, not even close. I think to talk in general, talk about line movement, because that's what the market is we're talking about lines and line moves. You have to kind of get into this week is going to be different than any other week, and next week will be the same because books in the market have had time to react for 6 months since these lines. I don't know when the lines got posted. I think it was actually
probably June.
Yeah,
so 3 months.
So it's a while, and it's hard to beat. It's easier to be the market where you can get ahead of the game, ahead of your fellow competitors, sports bettors, as well as the books. And it's tough in week 0 and 1 because there are going to be a ton of line moves that go through numbers. You lose out on value. And it's just difficult. And that's why this week alone is going to be way different than weeks that we do this later on in the pod.
It's also difficult because it's the unknown. The NFL is a little bit different because the rosters have been more established in terms of veterans playing. The history of, I would say, 80% of the roster, and then the other 20% are rookies that were probably drafted in rounds 1 through 4. So kind of what you're getting from a standpoint on that regard. For college,
especially now
with the NIL stuff, you really don't know what the roster is going to look like, what the offense or defense is going to look like.
So so actually, I'm not going to start it off with Florida State. I'm going to start it off with one that I think that
you don't want to go.
No, because why not? We're talking about line moves. That one hasn't moved a ton. I mean, it has, but compared to these other ones, it has not.
I think it's moved in a significant fashion. You really don't want to talk about FSU first.
No, because I think the one that the casuals and people who are tuning into this podcast and are like, what is going on with this? Or when they look at the board, they're going to be like, what is this? Is Montana State versus New Mexico. Montana State is right now a favorite of 11.5 points. They opened at 4.5. It moved all the way up to 11.5 where it's at now. New Mexico is going to be trash. Montana State is the cream of the crop for FCS football. They're like the FCS football landscape right now, which for anyone who, I mean, I don't pay attention to FCS. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm like an FCS guru, but it's a lot like college football before the playoffs and a la like 4 years ago, where there's like 4 teams that can win. Like that's it, and no one else has a chance. The drop off is huge in terms of odds. Montana State is plus 320 to win the national championship for FCS. It was different. They have a whole playoff system. But I just think when you think about people who haven't tuned in, have not been looking at the market, when they wake up on Saturday morning and look at this line, they're going to be like, what in the world is going on? Why is this FCS team favored over New Mexico, even though that New Mexico is, to be, frank, like dog shit, honestly. And it's at New Mexico too, which is another thing. If you honestly have not been paying attention, you're like, an FCS school is going into New Mexico and is going to be favored by 11.5. It's going to be crazy. And this, it's honestly has just been all sharp movement from what I've seen. Like guys,
there's been 2,000 bets placed.
Okay.
According to this data, and it's moved 3 separate times. So it jumped up 2 points, then jumped up 3 points, and then they closed it, and now it's at 11.5. Which I find pretty interesting because that is steam.
We're plugged in.
But this is what I'm talking about when you talk about the unknowns. I feel like there's so much unknown between an FCS team and an FBS team.
Right.
The disparity of talent, like how big of a disparity is it actually?
Yeah.
So when it comes to moving the line that much, it's like, do you really want to?
And also, you're going through 2 key numbers too. So like, if you're just now looking at this, I doubt there's buyback on New Mexico either. Like if there's some sharp groups out there who are betting this, I doubt that the betting public is going to come in or some other group is going to come in and bet New Mexico. But I think this is a good point, which is more valid for NFL than college. But like, if you miss out on a huge move, like one to where this is going through.
Explain what a huge move is.
When the line moves through a key number, which key numbers are 3, 6, 7, 10,
14.
14, 13. When you miss out on the move that goes through multiple numbers, you're late to the party. And it's probably a good idea to wait and see what happens to where if you can get buyback to where, who knows? What if someone, I don't predict this, but what if some groups come in or the market moves it down to 10? Then you can have a little bit more value than 11.5.
Explain what you mean when you say groups to the people who don't know.
Like sharp betting syndicates, guys who actually have market pull, guys who are known as long-term winning bettors throughout the market, who books identify. Now it's not walking up to a counter. Now it's logging in and having like an IP address. But people in groups who are known to win and be sharp in this market. Like if there's like an FCS, there is an FCS guru out there somewhere
who makes his money betting on FCS football.
Which I know this is a long segment to be talking about Montana State and New Mexico, but like if you asked me what would make if you're a losing bettor, right, and you have good bankroll management, like throw that out the window. You're not an addict. Like you know what you're doing. You can handle bankroll, and you cannot beat the book. Like you have just a problem. You across all markets, you're not doing good. I would tell you, focus on a small conference in college football and college basketball and become the expert in that conference. So like if you struggle in the NFL or struggle in Power 5, college football, go look at
Conference USA or
go look at Sun Belt. In basketball, go look at the SoCom. Go look at the Summit League. Become the expert in that conference because I guarantee you're paying more attention than 99% of people out there. And if you can be locked in, you know what team is good with matchups, you know what team is good identifying, whatever metrics they struggle at or whatever is Fugazi where it's like, no, that's a fake box score. They should not have been that close. You can get value on it. Then that is really how you can start attacking certain markets and become like the expert and grow your bankroll that way.
And I'll go one step further. because it's not getting as much action. Contrary to what most people believe, sports books are not the all-seeing eye when it comes to setting odds. And
the market dictates it.
Yes, and the lesser attention a matchup gets or a conference gets, the lesser sharp the line will get or will be at the open.
Correct.
So you have a better chance of having an edge over the sports books if you even want to take it one step further in smaller conferences than, let's say, obviously the Big Ten or the SEC.
Right.
So that was that was a tangent.
That
right
was
there.
I think there's some good nuggets in there. But I mean,
you did a good job.
Let's get to where we actually talk about
Can we go back to Tech and FSU?
Yeah, this is how it will go. All right. So in most spots, FSU opened up as 13.5 favorite. It dropped down or briefly touched 14 first, and then it dropped, and I think it's at 3 right now. When I left for the house for your house, it was at 11. I'm sorry, it dropped 3 points to 11.
And for you guys who aren't as plugged in or haven't looked at the board, he's talking about FSU. FSU is currently favored at
11 points right now.
Okay,
so 11 and a half, 11 flat in some books. So, but basically, it's sharp action. I have a quote from our good friend Patrick Everson. He does a good job. He basically goes out and gets quotes from sports books and odds makers, excuse me. And let's see. He said, handle isn't too big right now. There's a lot more sharp than recreational play. All the sharp money has been on Tech. That's coming from BetMGM.
Okay, so it opened 13.5, and it's been pushed down to 11. I actually saw on FanDuel this morning that it's 10.5 FSU minus 10.5
really?
FSU.
Yeah, I was looking all over. I was seeing 11 flat at a ton of spots. So
which is interesting given the matchup and the teams,
right? Especially
especially with the way, I mean, FSU. Somebody's gonna have to talk me off of betting FSU.
If
now.
it gets down to 10, I think it's going to be a play for sure.
Let's just talk about the statistics in the X's and O's of this matchup. I mean, FSU is getting DJ Ungule from Oregon State. A lot of people remember him as a failed product at Clemson, quite frankly.
Yeah.
He had a solid year.
I'm a DJ hater too, though, so I'll throw water on this when you're done. But
He had a very solid year behind a good offensive line and a conservative play call, but it was a pro-style offense.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do many reads. It was very 1 and 2 read oriented.
yes,
And they had a very good season in what was the hardest conference last year, the Pac-12. So you add him.
Whoa.
The Pac-12 was the best.
It was good top down. Top to bottom. Excuse me. No hate there. I'm just saying it's tough to say that it's the
That
best.
would be a weird hill to die on.
I'm not going to. I'm just saying
it was not good last year.
I'm not going to. I'm just saying that that's a tough statement.
Tough statement. No, what you think the Big Ten? Big Ten had 2 teams.
No, I'm just thinking. Anytime you come at SEC, it's like
SEC didn't have a great year either.
I'm just saying.
Oh my god.
All right, so keep going.
So a good year in the Pac-12.
Right.
They bring in Roydell Williams from Bama.
Right.
Very good numbers if you look at it. 5.3 yards per carry. And this is my most important nugget that I like to look at for returning production is they have 190 starts on the offensive line.
Yeah, they have a great O-line. That was the thing I have circled. I was looking back at my notes from
190.
Yeah, it's a good O-line for sure.
So DJ Ungule is not gonna deal with the
right. He's gonna have time back there.
Yeah, just the mess that he had at his last year at Clemson. That offense just period didn't have talent. I remember everybody thought that they were going to score 28 points a game, and it was just a mess.
Yeah, he burns people left and right every week.
So, but to go to Tech, you can speak on this more. They're returning 8 of the 11 starters on offense. I feel like that's the big push here for the reason it's moved from 13.5 to 11 is that people think Tech's offense is going to be relevant, that they're going to be able to move the ball.
A lot of good practice notes.
a lot of good.
Seriously, I mean, honestly, a lot of stuff.
The AJC is pumping propaganda for Tech.
They have, yeah. So to get this out of the way, I think Tech is going to snipe a big dog this year. Like I'm thinking, whether it's Florida State, Notre Dame, NC State, they have the potential to do it just because their offense is so good. Haynes King is legit. Like you said, 8 of 9, or how many? 8 of 11.
8 of 11. They're returning.
And I have down here the offensive line. This is from back in late July when I was doing research. Offensive line is legitimately good. They ranked 6th in line yards. They have a combined 129 starts. So they are legit. The Haynes King is going to have protection. He's going to be able to do what he wants. Their defense is terrible, though. For as good as their offense is, their defense is terrible. They were outside the top 100 when it comes to quality drives, defensive quality drives. So that basically means that anytime a team got the ball, they were getting in the scoring position. They were bottom 5 in as good as the offensive line was. The defensive line is just as bad. They're 128th. So literally bottom 5 when it comes to defensive line yards against. So they were getting crushed on the run game, which is why I think that if it does get to 10, FSU could be a nice investment because that's the one place where they're going to be able to just fully exploit.
It sounds like the over.
But here's my thing. I said I was going to throw water on the DJ take. Here's my take. You said it too when you were talking about them. It was a run. They had Oregon State had the 3rd highest rushing percentage besides in a service academy. So literally, you take out all the service academies, they were pounding the rock, which led to play action, which led to, like you said, one read pat throws.
But that's a lot of Mike Norvell's offense. Mike Norvell's offense is a lot of PA, a lot of drop back, just deep throws.
But Pistol, he's going to need a shotgun a lot more. He's going to have to make more reads, which I think he's not very smart when it comes to that. That has not been his bread and butter. And I think if you throw him in there and he has to start trying to piece up offense or defenses, making multiple reads, having RPOs. That's just not his strong suit. So that's where I do get weary of betting the over when it's like, okay, what if? And I guess you could say the same thing for FSU minus 10 if it gets there. I just want to make this clear. It's not there yet. I'm just speaking this. I think if it keeps dropping, it could be a good play.
I think I like the 55 over 55 and a half. Just listening.
You're just banking on DJ being competent.
And I'm just looking at that offensive line. I'm looking at the athletes they have outside. I'm looking at. I like Rory Dell. He was a solid running back at Alabama. I don't know. That's
my last thing before I move to the next game is if anyone sees this in any book, let me know. Because I did it. I signed up for Prize Picks, hand up. That's on me last year. I didn't deposit much. But I wanted to take advantage of a PGA tournament. I wanted to do Fairways Hit because they offer that, and I thought there was an edge there. There was an edge. I made money, and then I tried to do correlating parlays with football, and I basically gave it back, so I took my money out. But I say all this because I used to always try to find Haynes King's combined touchdowns over 1.5 for rushing and passing. I can't find that anywhere in any book. So if anyone out there sees this, just straight, I don't want to parlay this with a Prize Picks. So if you see this just straight up offered by any site out there, please put it in the comments because I do want to keep hitting this because it was very lucrative.
Cash cow, huh?
Yeah, it was.
All right, let's move on to I guess the second best game of the slate.
What is that? What are you talking about?
I guess, yeah, never mind. Sorry, I was reading it wrong.
I was going to say, there's no way that's the second best game. It's a complete gong show.
Yeah, all right. Sorry.
So it's Hawaii and Delaware State. It opened like right at the first openers at 27.5, and it got all the way to 40.
Have you seen what happened with Delaware State?
That's what I was going to say. It's a complete gong show. They missed their flight. So they're not in. Well, that was yesterday. I'm assuming they got the.
I don't know.
I don't even know what the.
They said they were working on a plan.
What was the reasoning? It was.
They missed a bus. They missed their pickup time for the bus. Another thing too that blew my mind when it comes to like, just the people don't understand that college is not the NFL.
Right.
I'm reading people are like, why didn't they have a charter out to Hawaii? Hawaii is a damn 12-hour flight.
It's Delaware State. What, you think they got the funding for that?
That's what I'm saying. You're going to have a charter flight from Delaware to Hawaii.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. No. If you're thinking that, I got some beachfront real estate to sell you in Oklahoma.
Yeah, there's no shot. So that was, okay, so that's the first part of the gong show. Okay, this is a 13-point move. I think it actually was higher because I was just looking at SBR review. No, it's 40.5. All right, so it's still at 40.5. So 27.5 all the way up to 40.5. Obviously, Hawaii's the favorite. We talked about Montana State being one of the teams that could win the national championship.
Yeah.
Delaware State is a bottom 20 FCS school.
So Hawaii was a bottom 10 FBS school.
I think the talent dispersion is huge there. And I don't want to get like into X's and O's here because I mean, this is a layoff. If you bet this And if you bet this after this move, I mean, you got bigger kahunas than I do. I would never take a game that's moved 13 points on either side. You don't want to be on the side of a group who's crushing it. And you also don't want to be on the side that you lost a ton of key numbers. But another quote from bookmakers. This is from FanDuel now. Colt-like in how Hawaii gets money. Colt-like in how Hawaii games get money that does not line up with the on-field matchup, which would be this. It's bigger action than the game should get because it's a get even or get deeper in the hole type game.
Okay.
Also, quote, bookmakers much prefer.
Oh, because it's in Hawaii?
Yes, because it's the 12 a.m.
Yeah, who doesn't love that game?
That's it. Bookmakers said, we like Hawaii being the last game. There's no parlay liability. Because you can't do a money line parlay, and who is really out there going to be having, compared to like a USC coming in at 10:30, you have Hawaii at 12. It just is a little bit easier, I think, on them. But yeah, so Colt, I don't think it's crazy how much attention it does get. Like, I bet this standalone game will get more than probably Florida State and Georgia Tech. Honestly, that's a bold take, but
that's not going to happen.
But just because of where the games are
Hawaii and Delaware State at 12 o'clock is going to get more eyeballs.
Yeah, just because it's the last game on the slate and
12 o'clock
and Georgia Tech's Eastern. The first one. Georgia Tech's the first one.
Eastern time? You think people are staying up?
We'll be watching. But
that. Instead of 12 o'clock, it's a noon kickoff for Florida State Georgia Tech.
That's what I'm saying.
What
West Coast is asleep.
Dude, there's a reason Fox has big noon Saturday.
That's
12 a.m. No one's staying up for big midnight Saturday.
That's a good point.
Holy cow!
We'll see what happens.
Oh my god!
All right, and then the next one.
This is the last one we're talking about, correct?
Oh, I have one more, but that was just mainly that was another good nugget to say. Like, all right, this is what. Like, not every move is a sharp move, so that will be quick. This one is just. So we're talking. This is the last week 0 game. Let's put it that way.
The SMU Mustangs go into Nevada.
Yes, this is another game that's moved a ton since the opener.
This is a very interesting one.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not even sure what's completely going on. So I'll preface that.
All right, break it down for us.
All right, so it opened at minus 18.5 SMU. SMU is projected to be decent this year. Preston Stone's back. It went all the way up to 27.5 yesterday, and then shortly after it got there, it dropped all the way down to 24.5, 25.5. I think right now. Let's see.
So that's
right now. It's at 25.5.
So talk about that in terms of key numbers, so people can get a better idea what you were talking about earlier in the podcast.
So 18.5 really is nothing. Goes through key numbers of 3 touchdowns, 21, 24.
24 is a touchdown and a field goal.
Right. So then it gets 27.5, which 28 is obviously very key. It's 4 touchdowns.
Especially in college.
Yeah.
It's very important in college. 28.
And then now it's down to 25.5. I do know that there was a Nevada QB battle that was announced yesterday. I believe so. So I think that's where you do see some of the buyback on Nevada. Was that Lewis, I think, got beat out. I need to check Twitter. You never know what your sources are these days.
Right.
We're not like Dan Patrick where we got to verify with 3 guys. So this is literally just looking at one tweet.
Okay.
So do not hold me to this. My reputation is not going on the line for this. But yeah, so then the line moved back down. I have not seen any injuries or anything. So the move from 18.5 to 27.5, I'm assuming is all market based. Is that people were hitting it at the opened, liked it under 21.5. It steamed all the way up, and now we're starting to see a little bit of buyback on Nevada, which surprised me because I thought we would have saw this buyback at 28, not 27.5. But I think that people, or the market, I'll stop saying people. I think the market thought, okay, this is the top.
This is as good as it's going to get.
So let's get it where it's at.
My opinion on SMU is that I actually like them as a long shot, dark horse future bet to win the ACC.
Okay.
At plus 1100, just because of Patrick Stone. The offense is coming back. Preston Stone. Sorry. The offense, for the most part, is returning. They have a lot of starts on the offensive line, which I love.
I think that's another thing too. Like, we're gonna do advanced metrics like later on, but that is so huge in college football. If your quarterback's not running around back there and he has a good offensive line that can protect, pick up blitzes.
Right.
They're
going to be good.
Yeah.
So I don't see maybe I see as like why it's jumped up so much is because people do think SMU is going to have a good year.
Yeah.
And Nevada's pretty much unknown.
No, they're a serious down year. They
I know.
actually got a Montana State.
They were awful last year.
Right, and they're projected to be awful again. It's a lot of unknowns because it's a lot of the transfers in. They actually have some Power 5 transfers. Their tarp's not terrible, but yeah, that's where I mean.
So that's kind of where
I think Nevada's win total is 2.5. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. So that's where I'm at with that. I don't really necessarily think that's a bunch of sharp movement. I just think that people see big name SMU going to the ACC versus Nevada, who hasn't been relevant in 3 years
since what's his name, Carson
Strong.
Yeah,
was that his name, Carson?
Yeah,
Strong?
it was Carson Strong.
An absolute stud.
Yeah,
He had a
whatever happened to him?
I
hope you're a listener, Carson. We were big fans of it back in the day.
He's out of the league now.
But yeah, that's all there is there. I do think too, like, this is another good point to bring up, and you see it a lot in college basketball just because it's more fluid with points going up and down. But you're not going to see, it's not so much that a team, like, people are running to the counter to back a team. It's just that you're not going to see any buyback on these terrible matchups.
Yeah,
like it's going to be like Hawaii, Delaware State, for instance. Sure, Hawaii is not great, and I don't think anyone is going to run to the table to bet Hawaii in any other weeks. But there's literally zero buyback on Delaware State.
Well, a lot of
So
the thing for college that I always differentiate between the NFL is that you get more of like people. When I say people, bettors, it's more of like this team's good, this team's bad. I'm going to bet the good team regardless of the line. Whereas the NFL, it's like this team's pretty good, but can they beat this team by that much? And you get more of like
we're obviously talking about just casual recreation.
Yeah, just Uncle Joey going out to Vegas. He's like, oh, SMU's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
They're probably going to really whoop Nevada. It's like, okay, how much are they going to whoop them by? Are they going to whoop them by 21? Are they going to whoop them by 28? You know, it's one of those things. So you see that more so in college, especially in these weird
early
matchups. So I wouldn't overthink the line movements is what I'm trying to say.
And also, again, like you're a month late. That's the thing about these. Like,
yeah, they already opened up.
Yeah, you're a month late. It's hard. It's a hard week to get ahead of moves because of that. So then the last one I'm talking about is because I'm seriously plugged into Boise State. I'm like, I might as well move to Idaho.
James wanted to put this on the outline so bad. He's like, this is the last market move.
I gotta talk about Boise. So the total is what I'm going to be looking at. It dropped 2 points.
Explain the matchup first. Explain.
It's Boise State versus Georgia Southern, and the over/under has dropped 2 points since.
This is week one.
Week one.
It's not week zero.
There's still time. So over/under dropped 2 points in a reaction to the news that my guy Malachi Nelson is no longer the starter. He was replaced by the quarterback last year, Maddox Madsen. What a name, too.
That's a great name.
I know, yeah, it really is. Who he started the season, and then he had to get surgery on his back halfway through, or had a back injury. I don't know if he got surgery. That's pretty sad of me to just make that assumption. But he had to end the season halfway through because of his back
issues.
And now the line has dropped 2 points in the total. So this is just where every line move, we've been talking about the market a lot here in like groups and stuff. And I just want to like reiterate, like, sure, the market could have moved this, but I do think it was just a reset by books saying, okay, we made Nelson worth this much to the total. He's out. Now it's Madsen.
The style of game is probably going to change. They're probably going to run it more, obviously. With
and it's
their
just like
running back.
If you're again going back to like if you're plugged into a small conference, you know this. Like, okay, he's now the starter. What did the market do? What did books do? You open it up offline, goes back online, move 2 points. Okay, I know what moved that line. Like, you're just more confident in knowing that
something
that's you know what's going on. Like, you know why it's going on. You don't just look at something and say, what is happening here? Like, people who wake up to Montana State and New Mexico and say, oh my God, how is Montana State to almost 12-point favorites at New Mexico? Like, you understand, you're just embedded. You were born in the Mountain West. You weren't. You didn't adapt to the Mountain West. You were born in that.
You got the answers to the test for the Mountain West.
Exactly. So that concludes market movers. I thought it went okay for the first one. I gotta get better at like going through them, But
yeah, I mean, you were.
It's just like it's a good teaching because a lot of people don't know how to read lines. I truly believe that. I think every time someone sees a line move, they think that 90% of the public is on a game, so they're trying to outweigh action, or that it's just like wise guys are betting it. Like, they don't understand that the market can react to news.
Right.
It can't. It's just
Yeah, they either think it's Billy Walters or they think that
Right.
the entire state of Wisconsin.
So I do think it's interesting. It's a good way to like break down games without having to like just go through and pick them. Like, you can say like, all right, well, why? Hopefully, we will know later on. Like, okay, if it's not a Hawaii versus Delaware State matchup, we'll be able to tell you why this line moved where.
Exactly.
So there you go.
All right, moving on.
Okay, enough about me rambling on about markets and live moves. Let's get into the next segment, which is most actionable metric. This is basically going to be...
This is a stat that James and I actively look at. Like, we do this every week. We look at this stat to help us become better sports bettors. We use this in our day-to-day sports betting. It's something that we think you guys should look at as well.
Yes.
Think I said that correctly?
Yeah, correctly. Again, you're not going to become a millionaire just staring at this metric and betting blindly using this, but use this in your overall process. If you build a model, you might want to think about putting this in the model.
Yeah.
Just take this knowledge and use it.
And apply it to your day-to-day sports
There
betting.
you go. Exactly. Okay. All right. You want me to go first or you want to go first?
I got it. So the metric that I'm using is DVOA. DVOA stands for defense adjusted value over time. I always stumble over that.
It is a tongue twister sometimes. I find myself struggling with that as well.
Anyway, it measures essentially efficiency on a play-by-play basis in the NFL. And it factors in down and distance, the time on the clock, so second, third, fourth quarter, the location on the field, the score, just essentially measuring. It's a better indicator than yards per play, yards per carry. It measures the exact efficiency of a team. And it's a great baseline to use if you're looking at a matchup and you just find out a line. So, for example, again, I'm going to be using teams hypothetically. Don't take this to the bank when the Ravens are playing the Bengals. Okay.
Well, the line's not going to be what it is.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah, that'd be an insane thing.
I don't think that's too. Anyway, we're going to get off topic there. But let's say the Bengals are traveling to the Ravens.
Okay.
If you don't know this, home field advantage is usually worth 2.5 to 3 points. Okay?
Right. It's like debatable. It depends on what team it is and
right. But that's a baseline.
For the example, let's just say 3 points.
So right off the jump, Ravens -3.
Okay.
So that means that Vegas thinks, or odds makers think, that if they played on a neutral field, that Baltimore would be favored by 2. Well, if you go into the DVOA metrics, especially weighted DVOA, which is it weights the recent games higher, and they're right about even, or the Bengals are leading them,
yeah.
Well, then there's a little bit of a discrepancy there. So then you need to dig in, okay, why is there a discrepancy?
Yeah.
Do they have historically a tough time against this particular defense? Do they have bad matchups? And if you can't find a reason...
Or is someone out there who beat you to the open moving this line?
Right, that too. But if you can't find a good reason, then you should probably lean closer towards the DVOA. Right. So that's what I use DVOA for. It's just a great way to start your handicapping process.
Yeah, it's a good thing to just plug into. Like, I would be willing to bet the majority of listeners did not know that the Baltimore Ravens last year were... I think historically they were number 2 in total weighted DVOA when the season concluded.
Yeah, they were great.
Which explained why they were always such a high favorite, even on home or away fields and all types of stuff. So, yeah, it's just I agree. It's a good thing just to start,
just to look at.
Like every Monday, I do it on Discord, which is a plug.
Especially yeah.
So if you want to join the Discord, click link in bio. But I send it, and email too. I send it via email. But I send it every week. It's one of the first things I do on Tuesday is I put the weighted DVOA. I say movers, who moved up, who moved down, why did it move down, why did it move up, what offensive DVOA went up, what defensive DVOA went up or down. Yeah, it's just a good thing just to be plugged in on.
Especially during like I think the dog days of the NFL, this helps the most. Like week 9 to week like 13.
Yeah.
Playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do think people, like if you're one of the guys listening who is sharper and you're like, well, duh, everyone knows that, you'd be surprised. I remember we posted...
How many people don't know that?
We posted a rankings on all socials last year, and it was ranking top 5. And this was deep into the NFL season. It was like essentially, I think it was like week 13. And we said, who are the top 5 teams going into the playoffs? I think it was your idea. And we basically went on the top 5 DVOA. It was like we might have switched like 2 of the top 5 in there,
People hated the Ravens. They hated the
people were
Dolphins.
hating. They were like, "What are you talking about? No." And you will be surprised how many people deviate from those ratings. So yes, I agree. I think that's a great thing.
It's a nice baseline.
Yeah, every Tuesday.
It's like starting the climb of the mountain.
I don't even know
that's a nice way
where
to
you
start.
can find it online, but like just every Tuesday, just look it up.
Yeah.
And if you want to get it sent to your inbox, join the
head to
email
Discord.
list. All right,
Simple plug.
I'll go next, and mine's not a.
Well, who else is gonna go?
That's true. All right,
we got two of them. I already went.
Yeah. All right, mine is a player metric. It's not a team metric, which is so popular in today's same game parlay junkie mentality that every Gen Z person has. So it's very, very, very actionable.
Don't attack the Gen Z.
I'm just
dude.
saying it's just all the same game parlays. I've been on my high horse just because of all these people complaining about the touchdown odds on DK. Have you even seen that?
Yeah.
It's
They
like,
are nerfed a little bit.
oh, they're definitely nerfed.
I saw Jamar Chase like at plus 100.
Well,
so they're implying that he has.
It's not even that. It was like
chance.
people are outraged that like Chase Brown was close to even. Here's the thing: is that the people complaining about these odds being bad are the same reason that these odds are bad. It's because you guys fire into any market with a 20% hold and you don't even bat an eye. You're like, whatever. I want to have a scratch off, so I'm gonna fight. I don't care if this guy his implied probability is what 50%, and he's on the field with 30% of snaps, and you're out. It's like, come on, like what? You were the ones who caused this. Do not complain. End rant. We're done with that. So back to ADOT. It stands for average depth of target. It can be used to evaluate both quarterbacks and wide receivers. I'm going to use it in the wide receiver context here. Basically, what it is, it's average depth of a target. So if a QB throws to a receiver, whether he catches it or not, and he's 13 yards downfield, and he only has one target that game, his average depth of target is 13 yards.
Got it.
I like to use it combined with other statistics such as like slot percentage, catch percentage, stuff that can help you really paint a picture without watching the game of where does this guy line up? What kind of passes are thrown to him? What is he going to be useful at? Typically, we can use a real case scenario here. Everyone was so mad at Jackson Smith and Jegba's usage last year with the Seahawks. He had like the fifth lowest ADOT in the National Football League through 8 games. It was 3 point something. Seriously low. Everyone's looking at that in a negative light. We took it in a positive light because we knew that he was getting all these catchable balls that are right at the line of scrimmage.
Screens, quick outs,
slants,
fly routes.
And all of his targets had an insane high catch percentage because he's catching it 3 yards from scrimmage. And his line was 2.5, 3.5 every time. I think we hit him like 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I like to use it. It's like I make a model, but if you're looking at wide receivers and you're like, why is his ADOT is this? He gets 6 amount of targets. What are we looking at here? You can gauge on what is going to be a valuable bet. Like Gabe Davis is the opposite.
Yeah, explain. So further down the field, this is common sense. The harder the catch is usually the deeper the ADOT. So
exactly.
If you go further down the field, your probability of catching that ball goes significantly down as you continue to go 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards.
Right.
No one's going to have a 30-yard ADOT.
Yeah.
But if you see a high ADOT, the catch probability is lower, which means you need to take into account that if they're getting a small target share and if they're getting a small amount of targets, that the amount of catches they're going to have is going to be hard to predict.
And let me pull up some players so we can give like a perspective on like what.
Yeah, just in case no
like
one's
what
ever
you know what I
looked
mean,
it
like
up
what
or-
it is. So
or
it's
know an actual ADOT.
Let's see here. So for instance, like I was going to use this player as an example anyways, but Gabe Davis was a player who had a high ADOT because he was always like the sacrificial.
He's just running posts
sacrificial
all day.
X going down the field.
Yeah.
And it dropped his catch percentage down because he did not have.
He didn't have those built-in targets.
No, they were all high contested
Right.
down the field throws. Now let's do like a guy like who's the best? Let's do Justin Jefferson.
Tyler Lockett's another guy who runs.
Well, let's just do Justin
very
Jefferson
deep.
just to give you a good baseline of like what an elite receiver gets. This guy, he's all over the field, you know.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, let's find Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson's ADOT last 2 years, 10.1, 12.6. So that would say, and then we'll do Tyreek Hill too. again, these are like putting in
Elite,
elite.
They're also
elite
getting
receivers
12 targets a game.
and guys who have just route trees that are basically everything. So
Yeah.
we're looking at players who can basically run any route. Tyreek Hill, 10.8 last year.
So the baseline is 10.
10 would be, yeah. So if you see a guy who's significantly lower, or significantly higher, and the reception number is lower or higher than what you think it should be, then that's a good time to fire. So if you find a place where just like, if he gets 6 targets a game and his ADOT is super low, like Jackson Smith and Jegba, around like 4 or 5 yards, it would be a sensible
Bet
bet to go over 3.5.
I agree.
That's just in the vacuum, nothing else. We're just strictly talking about these metrics. It's a good way to just use it and get an idea of paint a picture of where this guy is used on the field.
It's a good indicator to go with if you tie it with catch percentage. So if you look at catch percentage, then you look at ADOT, and they kind of match up like in terms of percentage wise and yardage wise, then go ahead and fire.
Like you could be Sky Moore and drop everything that
exactly
comes your way. But again, this is just in the vacuum. So
I like it.
All right.
That's a great one.
So yeah, so
and if you guys want all of our reception model stuff, it's in another free plug. It's in the Discord.
Yeah, exactly. I send it every week. So
all right, last 2 segments of the pod. First, we're gonna do trend of the week.
Well, we need to figure out a name for it. I guess I don't know if you guys think of a good name for it. Let us know. It's basically, is this trend bullshit or legit? Like that is like
Bullshit or legit. There you go. That's the name.
Okay, I guess we can rock with it. It's basically trends get shoved down your throat
All the time. We do it.
Yeah, but sometimes we try to give trends that are not only catchy, but are also like, okay, this is an actionable
Viable.
trend.
It's a viable trend.
You can get backed up. There's so many ones that are just so stupid.
All right, you ready for mine?
Okay, yeah, go for it. And I'll say if I think it's, and then you can too.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna call this one non-conference blowouts.
Okay.
When a team is favored by 42 points or more, not including last season, I don't have the data. Hand up, I don't have the data for last
That's
season.
fine. It seems like it's a hard thing to track.
When a team is favored by 42 points or more in a non-conference game, the over the last 5 years is 43-23. Here's the reason I think it's legit. And that if you went back even further, I bet you this would back it up.
Okay.
Teams that are usually favored by 42 points are either a very good team or they're playing an absolute dog shit opponent.
Okay.
In those games, usually the offense of the very good team that's favored by 42 is going to move at will. And the defensive intensity of the very good team is going to be lower than, let's say, if they were facing a conference opponent or an opponent that they're fighting for playoff berth or a rivalry game, whatever have you. It's going to be a laid-back atmosphere. Therefore, the dog shit team can actually score a couple tutties. The good team favored by 42 is going to score clearly a lot, and it's going to go over.
And like also how intense is the defense when you're down 40-0?
Right. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff, probably a 2 p.m. kickoff. You know, it's the UGA versus Samford.
Okay. I like this one. Over. I can get behind this one.
So non-conference blowouts is what I call it.
I have
42. Let me repeat it.
Yeah.
When a team is favored by 42 points or more in a non-conference game, the over is 43-23 the last 5 years.
I buy that. I do buy. I would subscribe to that.
That's legit.
I do think I'm looking at it right now. So the teams in week 1, Arkansas Pine Bluff versus Arkansas. Arkansas is minus 47.5 favorites.
See?
Missouri, Murray State is 47.5 favorites. Been no movement. Here's just a good idea of like what the landscape looks like. It's Ohio State is minus 50.5 versus Akron. The over under is 57. So it's like basically if you haven't
you think those big boys at Ohio State are going to be intense in the third and fourth quarter.
And that's a good point. Like I would say this too. I haven't looked at this angle, so let me do research. I'll go back next pod. But like, wouldn't you much rather take the over rather than Ohio State at that point?
Yes.
Because basically there's so many more paths to victory for the over.
They're going to be playing like the white kids at cornerback.
Well, I'm not even saying that. It's like think about like, all right,
walk-ons.
that's what, again, but it's like, all right, you could even have, if Akron scores 1 touchdown, you're not covering number one. If the over doesn't hit, you're not covering if Akron scores touchdown.
Yes.
But it could,
You have more outs.
Right, exactly.
To cover the over
Exactly.
than you do to cover
that was my whole point.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually buy that.
Stamp it.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah, legit. I stamped that. All right, so mine is Hawaii openers. It doesn't matter where it is. They're 12-2 over the last 14 seasons. Is that bullshit or legit?
We call it bullshit. Why does that? What does that have to do with anything?
That's an example of I've seen it all over. I think
Why would that matter?
DraftKings, Action Network.
They're trying to get your money. Then.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not even that. It's just
12-2.
It's just a big
ATS. What is it? ATS or money line?
ATS. So it's regime. It's like a new regime. There's so many. Think about how many quarterbacks have gone through that trend. Like, it just doesn't matter. That to me is something that does not matter.
God, that is like the only trend I've ever seen.
So I think we can both agree. Stamp that.
Bullshit.
Okay. All right. I thought that went good. I enjoyed that one. I like that.
Was not expecting you to whip out a Hawaii.
Well, we had to have. I thought yours was a very good one. I wasn't going to pull out like another one I thought was somewhat you could legit tail. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Shoving it. My favorite segment of the week. Shoving your chips all in on a topic, a game, whatever floats your boat. Push the chips on the table, shove them all in. I'm jazzed up about this one. Doing my research all week on college football. This is my.
Well, I hope longer than that too.
I mean, yes, but I've been putting in hours this week.
Okay.
And this is my favorite bet team to look out for, whatever you want to call it. You could make the playoff is -170.
Okay.
It's a little steep, but I love this team. It's Notre Dame to make the playoff. I would even take
-170 then.
Yes,
okay.
I would even take their win total over.
Okay.
Get into it.
All right.
One of the easiest schedules out there. Okay, they have 2 true road games. They book in the season basically. Texas A&M going to be a tough one. USC also that could be tough.
Don't they play Tech on the road too? I know you said 2 true. Like,
Okay, I'll get into that.
Okay.
There are other road games, true road games. Tech is in Mercedes-Benz. It's not even in at
didn't know that.
Bobby Dodd, and they're playing Navy, and Navy's in. It's an off-site location.
Why are they playing in Mercedes-Benz? Is it
Notre Dame gets what they want?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Rich boys in Notre Dame get what they want.
Okay.
So you have legit 2 real true road games. Okay.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard obviously transferred in. Everybody knows I'm not going to spend time on him, but he was a top 10 quarterback last year.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah.
And made Duke what they were.
Right.
One of the reasons, this is like the highest reason in terms of like I'm going to actually buy in now. They brought back Mike Denbrock, who was the OC when Brian Kelly was there in 2015 to 16. He also had a stint there early in the 2000s. He was with LSU last year.
I like that.
He knows how to run an offense.
Especially with a mobile quarterback.
And he's worked with Freeman. They worked with each other at Cincinnati. When Denbrock also was the dude who brought Cincinnati to 13-1.
With Desmond Ridder?
Yes. So they worked with each other.
If he can make him look good.
I know. He can make Riley Leonard look pretty damn good. They worked with each other in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Freeman, you're going to have a top defense with Marcus Freeman. He's a great defensive mind.
Yeah.
And he gets the boys jacked up to play.
Oh, yeah. He's a great
players coach.
Yeah, great players coach. That's what I meant.
I think he's going to let Denbrock do his thing on offense. He's going to only focus on the defense.
Okay.
Their offensive line is a bit of a concern because they lost Joe Alt and that other kid.
Yeah.
But they just developed offensive line. I've been on the beat. It sounds like their offensive line is going to be shored up.
It's like Iowa tight ends.
Yeah, like they do develop.
They're going to get
from all the beat writers, they say that they're developing nicely, quote unquote.
Okay.
You don't know, but
yeah,
I like the developing nicely.
Okay.
And then last year, the biggest issue was the wide receiver position. They brought in 3 transfers, including Bo Collins from Clemson and then Chris Mitchell from FIU, who had 1,100 yards. So I think they're going to move. Yeah, they're going to move the football. I think they're going to be solid. The reason I'm just so high on them to make the playoff, they basically have to win one of these 3 games. USC, Texas A&M, both on the road. They have to win one road game.
Okay.
And then or they have to beat FSU at home.
Okay.
You win one, which they're all favored. You win one of those games, you are 10-2. You are in the playoff.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah. I agree.
Come on.
Yeah.
One game? That's all you got to win. One real game, basically?
Yeah, I agree.
Unless Georgia Tech snipes, like you said, could snipe it. But I doubt. I mean, I just think that this team is well equipped and is poised, and the rules are in their favor now.
Yeah, they are. That's I was gonna say that. That's the thing. It's almost like they juke the system. Like the rule is pretty much for the new format.
Right.
Rather.
If they beat Texas A&M, dude, they're 8-0 or 9-0.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going into FSU, it's like
definitely.
So I'm all in
you're
on
be
their
high
game.
ranked. Yeah, I agree.
I'm all in on them, and I think in terms of like, if you're looking at the teams that are like in that area of like 170 to plus 140,
Yeah.
Notre Dame is by far the most attractive one to me. Penn State's got a lot of. I mean, they got a lot of question marks, and this is everybody thinks this is like the year that Penn State makes the playoffs.
It's every year,
and it's just like I'd rather put my eggs in the Notre Dame basket than the Penn State basket.
I would agree with that as well. All right, good.
Who you got?
But I'm again.
You shoving in.
Last week I was really positive
You were.
on a non-bet topic. This one I'm negative. I am all out. I think I've been all out for like 8 times now on the FedEx Cup playoffs. As a guy who we're shifting to golf, as a guy who watches golf literally every week and stares at golf markets and runs golf models every day. It like last week was a product of all the best players playing. It's like same thing as signature event. It doesn't matter. So throw out last week. Does not matter. Signature event, same thing that we've had for 5 times past season. Now we're getting into the point where it is just so mind-numbing. The fact that the top 30 guys, whatever, make it next week, and then you have the whole reshuffling thing where like Scotty Scheffler is going to be how many strokes up is he? Like 4 strokes up on. He's like 2 strokes up on the second place guy.
-10, -8, -6, a bunch of people -4, a bunch of people -2, and then even.
Yeah, like that's so bad. Like
I didn't think you were going to go here, but we can get into this.
I think I have a solution. So I'm all in on the solution.
Can I pause you for a second?
Sure.
A major winner got 750 points. Okay, if you won, you get 750 FedEx points. Last week, it was either you got 2,000 or 1,500.
Right, there we go. That even makes me more mad.
2 majors to get the amount that
is even stupider than.
So it's not season long.
It's not at all. It's never been season long. It's a three-man event, which is where I have a solution for this.
Okay.
You still do the seeding. You take out whatever you just said. I was saying like you leave everything up until FedEx, like the championship, the FedEx championship. You leave everything how it is. But we're changing that. That you're going. Let's get normal point system. Like
I agree.
Okay. So then this week you play for the top 32 teams or 32 players rather. So after 32, everyone else is out. You do seeding, and we make this match play. Give the boys the week off. I know they don't want to compete with college football for week 1. So here we go. You give the boys the week off because you're going to be playing. Like if you win, how many is that? You win. You have to play 5 times. Okay. So. This week is an off week, relax. Or, I'm sorry, next week would be an off week, relax. So the week after that, after this tournament, you reseed and you start on Tuesday. So that you're not competing against college football strictly on Saturday or Sunday. And you have the championship match on Sunday, which there's no NFL on anyways. So do it so you have matches Tuesday, first round Tuesday, second round Wednesday, third round Thursday, and then fourth round Friday, Saturday off. Let the boys relax again. If you're getting into the championship game, this is winner takes all too, by the way. Yeah. You win one, you're done. No round robin like Dell match play. And then Sunday is a championship bout. That's
cool.
It.
I like it.
Because you could at least get viewers, like everyone on match play. Here's everyone's knock on match play. If it's just, this is why Dell match play is never had good viewership on Sundays. If it's a blowout, then the TV coverage sucks because it's like
turn it off.
Exactly
5 up through 9. It's like
and there's only 2 guys on, so it's like what are we going to show?
Yeah,
all this stuff. But NBC sucks anyways. You don't see golf shots with NBC anyways. So what does it matter? So let's go ahead and have this one.
A lot of time for commercials.
Started. Yeah, a lot of time
for
sponsors are going to love that. You
yeah.
Start at 1:00, and the first 5 holes are going to be good because it's tight. So then you have at least good viewer for an hour and a half. Hopefully it's a tight match and it's good viewing the entire day.
Right.
That's my solution. And also, like, we have no more match play in PGA.
Yeah, bring it back.
Bring it back. And this is high stakes too.
The US Amateur had good ratings.
All I know
Same
is,
thing.
as an Atlanta ATLian, I cannot stand the new format of East Lake. I think it sucks. The old ones suck too. Like, you never knew who was winning. Like, it was.
Yeah, but at least it was their tournament.
But you know what? Like, the old FedEx Cup style reminded me of, like Live Golf, where it's like, oh, the Fireballs are in first place. Like, no one cares. No one cares Justin Rose won the year that Tiger Woods won. No one cares about that. It's all about who won the tournament. So they're shifting. It was good. It was good intentions. They wanted to have everything
right.
But now
it's time to reevaluate.
Yeah, time to reval. Let's put the brain, trust, and let's get something better. And I think I just solved all those problems.
Well, James solved that. And we solved this podcast. We are officially done.
Okay.
Thank you guys for listening. If you're subscribed on YouTube.
We got to get better at the sign-offs.
I know.
And, like, ending it.
If you are watching on YouTube.
Smash the like button.
And subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, download it, give us a follow, and give us some comments, and let us know what you guys want.
Yeah, let me know. Seriously, if you guys know where you can find Hayes King.
Still on this after 35 minutes.
Combined touchdown and combined rushing and passing touchdown line. Let
James know.
And you hit it too.
All right. Good luck this week, guys, and we'll talk to you next week.